Hello, people of the interwebs. My name is EMF, and I'm bringing you some StarCraft 2 gameplay commentary, where I'll be spawning at the top left of the Condemned Ridge as a red Zerg. My opponent Falls will be spawning at the top or bottom right of this map as a blue Zerg. Seeing as how this is my first StarCraft 2 gameplay commentary, I'll give a quick recap of my StarCraft experience. I never played Brood War, but I did buy StarCraft 2 in release. I couldn't play though because my old computer had Vista on and it wouldn't download some particular file. Then my laptop couldn't run Fraps and replay at the same time, so I finally have a new computer and am able to play or watch games and record at the same time. When I first started playing, I was obviously put in Bronze League, and for about a couple seasons before I finally got out of Bronze and moved on to, I think, about Gold before I stopped playing the first time. And then when I came back around season 6 or 7, I really started playing, try to get as competitive as possible, and I made it to #1 in my division in Diamond League before I stopped playing again. I played a couple Masters people, so I got pretty decent. I got high up. I just came back during like a couple weeks ago. I took a break off for the entire summer, and I'm back in Platinum, and I'm playing against Diamond Leaguers now. So I'm about to move back up to Diamond. The Zerg I'm playing right now is he's in the top 8 of his Diamond division. I don't recall which one exactly. So I'm just gonna be opening up with a 14 or excuse me, a 15 pool, 15 gas. You can do 14 pool, 14 gas. I never really see a difference, but I'm typically more greedy in the Zerg vs Zerg matchup with minerals than I am with gas, just because the gas you get at the beginning of the game is mostly going to be used to get a metabolic boost, but I'm much more of a macro player at heart to begin with. Now, so far, I know he's not at the top right, so he has to be spawning at the bottom left, or the bottom right, which is a good thing for me because I want to get expansions as fast as possible and hold them, and it's really hard to do the whole rush distance. It's easy with Zerglings, but the big killer of the early game is roaches. Getting a lot of roaches and doing like a +1/1 timing or something like that in the early game, that's going to be your biggest killer. And with a good overlord placement, it's really easy to see that coming. So you could probably throw up a couple spines and just hold them until the spines come up. And spines do a tremendously good job at holding roaches off in the early game. So I never skipped. Now, a lot of people choose to skip these first Zerglings, and that's a horrible idea because it will... especially if you do this build and you don't see any Zerglings and you know he's not 6-pooling, a lot of people would just tend to skip them. But I always like to build them anyway, just because I can go to his base and see what's going on, making sure he doesn't have a whole ton of Zerglings saved up. I can see his gas timings. I can see how his expansion is coming along, because at this time you would definitely have a expansion Zerg vs Zerg coming along. I'll see, and if he does have it up, I'll know he did like a 15 hatch, and I'll see how many drones he has on it, and if that's the case, I'll have a pretty good advantage because I'll get metabolic boost for Zergling speed quickly. So I'm just poking at here, seeing what he has. He hasn't moved any drones to his expansion, which is a good thing because it's really easy to pick him off. So I notice here he's making a baneling nest, so I immediately throw one down myself, I think. Yep, I throw one down as soon as I see that. Just so I can counter with his counter. Now, he has a small economic lead, but I do have a tech lead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the tech lead just to kind of secure my my expansion. Just drone pretty heavily for right now. Now, what you want to be watching for at this stage of the game, I see he has a Zergling coming out. Or maybe I didn't, but he slips by anyway. He's going to see what I have going on, which isn't too much you wouldn't expect. So my Zergling speed's about to come out, so I'm going to go ahead and poke in here with another couple Zerglings. Make sure he's not doing some sort of cheese. I see he has banelings. And you notice, this is kind of big. I notice he only has 2 here, so he's probably not going to be doing something... those are more defensive banelings if I run in with a whole lot of banelings. So I'm just going to go ahead and macro up as much as possible since I know since it looks like he's not going for possible aggression. I have his Overlord position here to watch for a third. That's probably the most important thing in this stage of the game. Make sure he's not taking an early third. And there he goes. I see he's taking his early third, so I'm going to go ahead and make my third as well now too. People will tend to think that an early third kind of means an instant death, where in reality it doesn't at all. It could mean it if your opponent makes too many Zerglings, but a lot of times you can bait that third. You can just go ahead and throw down his 300 minerals and then just go ahead and make a lot of attacking units, and then when he attacks and tries to take your third, you're going to be pretty evenly matched, especially if you can get a spine crawler or such down here. It's really hard to assault a base without having a good roach force, and the spine crawlers deal with roaches very well. So I'm going to go ahead and make a whole bunch of Zerglings and try to go ahead and harass his third, try to get him to overproduce units. We're pretty even on supply now. He was ahead before, but now we're starting to even it out just because he has to do that, just because he has to spend minerals on the tech, which I got earlier. So even though he had an advantage early on, I came out and caught up a little bit. I missed micro there. And I like to express that micro isn't a huge deal at this stages of the game, because these Zerglings are rather cheap, and the only reason you actually really have them is to just harass, poke and prod, make sure he's not doing anything crazy. I'm just microing here a little bit. It's not that important. I think I'll clean up these Zerglings and do some pressure here. So this attack really is never meant to do that much damage. This is just to yeah, that was horrible. I wasn't paying attention. This attack was just made to delay whatever he's doing. I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and continue macro. I'll fast forward to some of this stuff. Now I sent some drones down to my third. Really recommend making a couple spine crawlers, both at your natural and your third. Here he catches me off guard, and I really should have had some Zerglings or some Banelings on defense. I don't think I lose too much. It's not really that big of a deal. So we're just going to go ahead and play this macro game. Now what the big question is it's about 11 minutes in, so the possibility of Mutalisks is incredibly increasing. See, I have my layer already, and since he got his third, I know that Mutalisk, if he is going for Mutalisk, it'll be happening soon. I'm going to go ahead and stockpile lots of minerals and gas, and I'm just going to start pumping out as many roaches as I can to kind of do some pressure at this third. I go in here with some Banelings, but unfortunately doesn't have that much stuff to kill, and I could have sniped a couple more if I would have played it better. So anyway, I am just making roaches, and then I catch him on this push, but I've already made a whole bunch of roaches. This push should be pretty easy for me to defend, and I do remember I did not cancel that, so that's a good 350 minerals lost that I really didn't need to lose. So I'm gonna go ahead and push out since I'm maxed out. He teched faster. I am go ahead and taking my fourth, but he did tech faster. He got infestors. So my infestors are just starting to come out. I believe I have my infestation pit down. Yeah, the thing's finished. So I'm already making infestors. Now I did snipe his third at this time, which is kind of the big win for me right now. So that's gonna slow down his economy a great deal, and I think ultimately that push where I just stockpiled minerals and took out that third is probably the reason I won. Now behind that, I made my infestors and I started letting them gather energy. My preferred amount of infestors is 7, but that's totally up to your personal preferences. Some people like more for fungals and other such, but I like to have 7. That's a good amount of fungals, and in case he makes broodlords really early on, it'll be really easy to throw some infested Terran down and fight those too. So I know he has a 4th base. I don't know how saturated it is, but I know since he lost his 3rd, he had to spend some minerals recuperating that. Now I'm about maxed out again, so I'm going to go ahead and just attack, just because there's no reason to be collecting minerals. I am taking the Hive. In a lot of the Zerg vs Zerg, if you don't, the most volatile places are the early game when he loses an investor here. It's pretty bad. The most common places to lose is the very early game where you just die to straight up Zergling or Baneling aggression. I'm gonna go ahead and scout with. I think I scout with some, but anyway, I'm gonna go down here. He moves his. That's really bad. Fighting up the cliff. But anyway, this is just to clear up supply, so I can go ahead and use my hive tech. There's no reason to be stockpiling minerals and gas this early on. He has about, I have 2-2. I think he has 2-2 at the same time. So I am now going to start, hopefully, my 3-3. I think I'm more concentrated on this fight over here. And this is another reason why you want these spine crawlers for this infestor pushes. I have a one of the overseers here, but I didn't have one down here, which is probably, his infestors probably got away, I don't recall. Now hold on, let me back up a little bit and show you that fight again, because it's really important that no matter what happens here, you want to make sure your infestors live. You want to keep this, keep all this energy. It's not even the gas wasted, even though that is a factor, but I think for my level of play in particular, I think it's more important to have all the energy left for infested Terran in the late game, because in the late game, if you go like Ultralisk and your opponent goes Broodlord, then you're in a lot of trouble if you don't have infestor energy. And you want to make sure to use the infested Terrans, because you don't have any anti-air unless you get up a Spire, and the Spire is such a long cooldown. So if he gets Broodlords and you don't have good infestor energy, you're pretty much screwed. So kind of just send a scouting roach, see what's up. I see he has his third again. Now we're both about maxed out, so I just attack again, go ahead and attack again. Now he actually wins this engagement. I keep, though, my infestors alive, which is really important. I send them back, and I'm already using my higher tech, my hive tech, and that's going to be huge for this next coming confrontation. So I already have Ultralisks, and as you can see, they have 5 armor, which is going to be a huge soak for my other stuff. Now, in the very late game, it's really important to get these tech units as fast as possible, because Zerg normally wins. It's a tech race. Not most of the time, it's not a war of like attrition. It's or how many bases can you collect. The bases are kind of just bait for you to tech up. Now, at the same time, you have to have the bases to have roaches or Zerglings to kind of prevent this early game aggression. Now he already had. Now this is his hive tech choice, but like I said before, I saved my infestors, so I have tons of energy. I think this one gets sniped, but I'm just gonna go ahead and toss down a whole bunch of infested Terran, and then his Broodlords. He doesn't have enough for it to be effective, and that's the end of the game there. So Zerg vs Zerg is probably one of the most volatile matchups, just because it's so easy to lose the game really early on. But if you stick to your guns and you make sure you have infestors out when you need them, and you just make sure you keep on teching, and I think the easiest mistake to make in a Zerg vs Zerg is just trying to win early on with a whole bunch of Zergling aggression, Zergling Baneling, when in reality of it, if that aggression fails, your opponent is going to get so far ahead. And it's really easy just to wall off ramps like this, throw down a couple spines, wall off with a couple creens, and it's really hard to push it. And you can have just like quickly make a whole bunch of Zerglings with metabolic boosts and hold off roach aggression. So you don't need to be as aggressive as people think. And it's especially easy just to kind of sit back and tech. And then if he gets a third, you don't need to go, oh my god, I have to kill him now, he's being too greedy. Just take a third yourself and make sure that you're teching, make sure you're putting aggression on when necessary. Make sure you have minerals and gas behind, so when if your attack does die, you're able to and if you kill all his units, you can go ahead and expand and use your larva to drone, or you can use it to make units to defend. So that's my first StarCraft 2 gameplay commentary. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll be back with some more later.